The 14th of December 2025, we tragically lost a giant in the world of TV and cinema, Rob Reiner. A legend who excelled in three fields, as an actor, as a producer, but most notably, as one of the most versatile directors of all time. I mean, look at this lineup of classics. This is Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men, all those in the space of a mere 8 years. That is unbelievable. But for how good they all are, none make a bigger impression on me than Stand By Me, released in 1986. This is my favourite Reiner film, and easily up there as one of the greatest Stephen King adaptations, top 3 minimum. So to celebrate its 40th anniversary, as well as pay my respects to an elite filmmaker, I'm going to give a wee review. So let's pack our bags and begin our journey. I think I'm stating the obvious here when I say that the strongest element is the boys. Damn fine performances from the lot of them, connected by one of the strongest vibes of friendship and camaraderie I've ever seen between kids in a film. Period. First up, Will Wheaton as Gordy. It's a shame that the guy kinda got overshadowed by "Shut up, Wesley," because he's actually a very solid actor, and this is his pinnacle. As you could probably guess, as a creative myself, I relate hard to him. Wanting to write or make something out of my creativity, but suffering from lack of confidence and self-belief. And it's also a shame to see him neglected and ignored by his parents as a result of the death of his bigger brother, who they admire and they consider Gordy lesser and don't even contemplate that he can even live up to his brother's standards. Like, Jesus man, that sucks. And Wheaton does really well to cut a sympathetic figure, and it's impossible to not get behind him. Secondly, River Phoenix as Chris, a dynamite performance here. Even at this early stage in his career, it was blatantly clear he was someone special. He may be a kid, but he is tough, authoritative, and takes charge. He cares so much for his friends, actively consoling them in their time of need, or encouraging them when he sees their potential. And in general, he's a role model of leadership and inspiration, but it goes deeper than that. Coming from a rough domestic life and being pointed at and unjustly pegged as someone supposedly doomed to be a criminal and nothing more. That is so hurtful, and it results in a powerful moment which I'll get to in a bit. Corey Feldman, in the midst of his epic 80s run as Teddy. Despite his wise-ass irritations, you grow to like and be entertained by him fast. He's a quip-spitting jokester with quite the charisma, but as we see, the laughs and the jokes are merely part of a coping mechanism to hide his pain and his unwell mental health, given his father's circumstances and having to live with that. And Feldman does well slipping between the positivity and the negativity with ease. And lastly, Jerry O'Connell as Vern, probably the most simple of the bunch, mainly naive, goofy, and the punching bag is the butt of the jokes, but he is delightful in his awkwardness and that obsession to keep his hair combed. And not to say he's ugly or anything, but I will say, puberty was very kind to him. He had turned into quite the hunk by the time that Jerry Maguire rolled around. And as an ugly 31-year-old, it still gives me the faintest hope that I can experience the same shift myself. Apart from our leads, we have Kiefer Sutherland in an early breakout role of his own as Ace. And yeah, many Stephen King stories feature a generic bully of some sort, but Ace, he is quite threatening, especially for how unhinged he is, not caring at all for the consequences of his actions. And his other Cobra pals shine as well. Shout out to a young John Cusack, who has a pleasant presence of warmth as Gordy's late brother Denny, as well as Richard Dreyfuss in his brief stint as the narrator, grown-up Gordy. The main setting is Castle Rock, a very humble small town in the middle of nowhere, which in my mind is the perfect location for someone like Gordy to live and grow up in. It makes total sense that a place like this, with not much going on, would drive someone like him who's in dire need of creative fulfillment and to make something of his life greater than what Castle Rock can offer. I also just like them being in the outdoors, down the train tracks and through the woods and whatnot. It makes for some nice visuals. Jack Nitzsche's music score helps to further fuel the emotions and the sentiments, while of course we have the titular song by Benny King that never fails to tug at the heartstrings. Plus having a bunch of golden oldies from the time period is a sweet bonus. There are too many highlights etched in my mind that I can't just name in passing, so we have to run through them in more detail. Beginning with the treehouse, which effectively gives us an introduction to the boys. In a short amount of time, you grasp who they are and what they're like through them playing cards, messing with Vern, and learning about the body of Ray Brower. And such a chilled mindset shown through here when they want to find the body just for the sake of getting in the papers and being labelled heroes. There's the sequence of the four invading Milo Pressman's junkyard, including the race between Gordy and Chris, emphasising their brotherly bond, the mother licking up comeback, and being chased by Chopper, whose reality doesn't live up to the myth. And Pressman brutally raining down on Teddy and his dad results in Feldman's best acting, rightfully loaded with pure rage and fury. The train over the bridge never fails to give me a ton of anxiety. Just the mere thought of being in that scenario has me crapping bricks. Although how the hell Gordy and Vern escaped that jump from the rails unscathed beats me. Gordy's story about Lord Ass Hogan is immersive and hilarious, with the ultimate of karmas being delivered, while also showcasing Gordy's writing talents with that obvious childlike fantasy twist. A complete and total barfarama. Chris's heart-to-heart with Goldie is a powerful moment that I referred to earlier, where the usually tough Chris tears down the walls, unleashing his inner sensitivity, breaking down in a mess of tears over the money situation and how he's treated and looked upon like a delinquent by the townspeople. God, it just wrecks me. River Phoenix is just unbe-goddamn believable here. The leech scene is another that is my worst imaginable nightmare, especially when Gordy gets one stuck in his, little Will Wheaton. And Ace playing chicken with the truck, not budging an inch with that dead cold glare in his eyes is unsettling. There's them at last encountering Ray Brower's body, where Gordy is struck to the core by considering his own mortality, then breaking down at the idea that he's a living waste of oxygen, until he's reassured once again by Chris. And that's all followed up with the Cobras showing up and Gordy pointing the gun at Ace in a seriously suspenseful showdown. That whole 10-minute stretch is incredibly enthralling. And then that brings us to the ending, where we are told of Chris's death, which we actually learn of in the beginning through that newspaper article, but by this point we've forgotten that fact, and it puts a lump in my throat, hitting even harder when taking into account River Phoenix's own premature death. But the silver lining is, Gordy turned out all okay, and as the credits roll, I can't help but well up. Upon this umpteenth rewatch, I have to say that this picture transports me back to my childhood with such an injection of nostalgia, hanging with my own friends with less worries, unaware of the world at large beyond my hometown, going on adventures and all that. They were innocent days that I often think of when I'm lonely, depressed or overwhelmed by the uncertain, disgusting state of the world today, and this film recaptures that bittersweet sensation of simplicity and purity. Stand By Me only gets better with age and is endlessly rewatchable. It has me totally engrossed every time and just continues to climb higher and higher up my all-time favourites period. As I already said, it's among the best Stephen King adaptations, and I truly do rank it as my #1 production from the master himself, Rob Reiner. Rest in peace, sir. Thank you for everything that you've done. Your contributions to cinema will live on in immortality. I'm Jason, and this is Small Movie World. Watching, talking, and loving films.